The grand lobby of the Regal Monarch Hotel was bathed in the soft glow of chandeliers, reflecting off polished marble floors. The sound of classical piano music blended with the occasional clinking of champagne glasses, as well-dressed guests moved effortlessly through the elegant space. It was an atmosphere of luxury and sophistication, one that promised comfort and safety. But for one woman, this night would be anything but safe. Before we dive deeper into this gripping and emotional story, let us know where you're watching from today. And if tales of courage, action, and standing up for what's right inspire you, don't forget to subscribe to Story Dash. Soon we'll share another story that will leave you speechless. At the front desk, a young woman, Rachel in her mid-20s with wavy chestnut hair and dressed in an elegant navy blue evening gown, stood facing a man who was visibly angry. His sharp suit and expensive watch suggested wealth, but his demeanor reeked of entitlement. His voice, low but furious, carried just enough for those nearby to catch the sharp edge of his frustration. "You think you can just walk away from me?" he hissed through gritted teeth. Rachel crossed her arms, her body language defensive. "I told you we're done. There's nothing else to talk about," she said, keeping her voice steady, though her fingers trembled slightly against her dress. The man, Nathan, a well-known businessman in his 30s, stepped closer, his jaw tightening. "You don't get to decide that." His hand shot out, grabbing Rachel's wrist just a little too hard. The receptionist behind the desk froze. The security guards, too far away to notice just yet, hadn't moved. Other guests in the lobby stole quick glances, their expressions varying between concern and hesitation. No one wanted to get involved. No one, except one man. Keanu Reeves. Sitting in a plush leather armchair near the bar, Keanu had been watching the situation unfold. He had noticed the way Rachel flinched when Nathan grabbed her wrist. He had seen the fear flash in her eyes, a fear she tried to hide behind composure. Keanu sighed, setting down his glass of bourbon. It had been a long day. He wasn't looking for trouble, but trouble had found him. He rose to his feet slowly, his movements deliberate. The air in the room shifted as he made his way toward the front desk, his sharp gaze locked onto Nathan. "Hey," Keanu said calmly, but with an undeniable authority. "She asked you to let go." Nathan turned, annoyance flashing across his face. "Who the hell are you?" he sneered. "This isn't your concern." Keanu's eyes narrowed slightly, his stance relaxed but controlled. "See, that's where you're wrong," he replied. "Because I make it my concern when I see someone being treated like this." Rachel's eyes flicked to Keanu, a silent plea for help, barely hidden beneath the surface. Nathan scoffed, releasing her wrist abruptly, but not before taking a step toward Keanu. "Big mistake." "I don't need some wannabe hero getting in my way," he spat. Keanu tilted his head slightly, his expression unreadable. "Then maybe you should think twice before putting your hands on someone who doesn't want you to." The tension in the room thickened. More guests were watching now. Some had their phones out, recording. The receptionist, now looking visibly uncomfortable, subtly pressed a button under the desk. Security had been notified. Nathan, not realizing who he was dealing with, let out a bitter laugh. "Oh, you're one of those guys," he said mockingly. "You think you're some kind of protector?" Keanu took a step closer, his voice dropping slightly. "I don't think. I know." Nathan's smirk faltered, but pride was a powerful thing. His jaw tightened. Then, he made his mistake. Nathan lunged forward, shoving Keanu hard in the chest. Keanu barely moved. In a flash, before Nathan could react, Keanu's hand shot out, gripping his wrist firmly. Not violently. Controlled, unshakable. Nathan winced as Keanu twisted his wrist just enough to make him understand. He was not in control anymore. "I'm going to say this once," Keanu said, his voice still calm but dangerously quiet. "You don't touch her. Ever again." Nathan's cockiness drained from his face, replaced by the stark realization that he had just picked a fight with the wrong person. The hotel security finally arrived, stepping between them. "Sir," one of the guards said, addressing Nathan, "we're going to have to ask you to leave." Nathan, still reeling from his public humiliation, glared at Keanu before reluctantly stepping back. "This isn't over," he muttered, his voice lower now, but everyone knew it was. Keanu turned his head slightly, scanning the lobby. The air was still thick with tension, but something else lingered. A quiet admiration. The guests who had pretended not to watch were now openly staring, some whispering amongst themselves, others discreetly recording on their phones. A middle-aged woman near the bar, dressed in an elegant black gown, leaned over to her husband and murmured, "Did that really just happen?" A bellhop standing by the entrance, no older than 20, looked at Keanu like he had just witnessed a scene straight out of an action movie. Even the security guards, who had arrived too late to intervene, exchanged glances, clearly impressed. It wasn't just that Keanu had de-escalated a volatile situation with ease. It was how he had done it, with precision, grace, and without unnecessary aggression. He hadn't just fought for Rachel. He had reminded everyone in that room that there were still people in the world who wouldn't turn a blind eye to injustice. Rachel, still shaken, took a deep breath and turned toward the hotel manager. I'd like to report him," she said, her voice steadier now. "I don't want him coming near me again." The manager nodded urgently. "Of course, miss. We'll handle it right away." Keanu, overhearing the exchange, gave her an approving nod. "Good," he said simply. "That's the first step." For the first time that evening, a genuine smile broke across Rachel's face. Small, but real. She looked at Keanu, searching for the right words. "You didn't have to do that," she murmured. "But you did." Keanu met her gaze, and in that moment there was an unspoken understanding. "We look out for each other," he replied. "That's how it should be." And with that, he turned and walked away, disappearing into the luxurious depths of the hotel, leaving behind not just a lesson in courage, but a moment that no one in that lobby would ever forget. What would you have done in this situation? Let us know in the comments below. And if this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Story Dash for more unforgettable stories like this one. Because sometimes, the real heroes aren't in the movies. They're the ones who step up when no one else does.